Wie viel van euch sprechen English?
How many of you do speak English?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank God. Okay. My name is Eric Hirshberg. Hirshberg is a German name. So I'm able to say that I've spoken German my entire life. The problem is it's just that one word. I noticed on the translation that they referred to Jürgen Roters as Lord Mayor in my translation. So I'm requesting now that in the translation to German, they refer to me as Lord CEO. I think it's only fair, although I don't know how Bobby's going to feel about that. My name is Eric Hirshberg. I am the CEO of Activision Publishing. And I've been playing video games my entire life. I'm relatively new to the gaming industry. I'm coming up on my one-year anniversary at Activision, but I've been playing games my entire life. One of my fondest memories of childhood was whenever my mother would ask my father to go run out and get milk, I would go with him, and we would get the milk and then dart to the back corner of the convenience store to play Defender and Tempest and Asteroids for hours on end. And to this day, I'm not quite sure if my mother ever really understood why it took so long to get the milk, but it did. And like most of you, I'm sure, I spent more hours than I'd care to admit in front of just about every console known to man, from the Atari 2600 to the Intellivision to the Sega Genesis to the N64 and everything since. Early in my career, my former career was in advertising. I created advertising campaigns for Sega, and later in my career, I created advertising campaigns for Sony PlayStation. So video games have been a part of my life for a long time, and they've been a lifelong love affair for me. So I'm really thrilled to be here in Cologne at my first GamesCom. Games have changed a lot during that time. Video games used to be little more than a sideshow to more established, legitimate forms of popular culture, like film, music, and television. Today, walking around the show, it's hard not to notice that games are far from the sideshow anymore. They now seem to be the show. Games have become an integral part of our popular culture. I love the fact that just about everyone now, in some measure, counts themselves as a gamer, whether they're doing it on consoles or PCs or on the web or on mobile. Everyone seems to be gaming. Whenever I tell someone that I work at Activision, one of the most pleasant surprises is to find out just how wide a spectrum of people are gaming now, because we all still carry the stereotype of gamers, that it's, the 18-year-old dude, drinking Red Bull, and they're still gaming. But my mailman plays games. My dentist plays games. My wife's friends play games. Everyone that I encounter has some form of gaming in their lives. And I think when people look back at a time capsule of this time period, it won't just be the hit movies and the hit songs and the TV shows that define their memories. It will be games too. We as an industry are creating some of the most powerful and beloved pop cultural images and experiences of a generation. And because gaming is becoming so global universal today, I believe that we are at the beginning of a golden age of game development. Now, if all you read were blog posts and opinion articles about our industry, you wouldn't necessarily think that, because we are also undeniably in a moment of disruptive change. No different than the music, television, and movie industries before us, gaming is going through an upheaval brought on by new technologies and new business models, all of which have the capacity to change our industry. But with all of that change, here's what hasn't changed: people's desire and appetite for great interactive entertainment experiences. I take that back. That actually has changed too. It's gotten bigger than ever. Despite all of the hand-wringing going on in our industry, people aren't gaming less. They're gaming more. They're buying more consoles, more PCs than ever before. They're spending more time gaming than ever before. They're just doing it with fewer, deeper, more connected games. They're also gaming on new devices, in new parts of the day, in new ways. They're gaming on their smartphones, on their train, on the way to work. They're gaming in their cubicles when they get to work. Not that I condone gaming at work. I do. The question is, are these innovations a threat, a destructive threat, to gaming as we know it? Well, there certainly are more choices and more competition than ever before. But those same disruptions that create new competition also give us new creative opportunities. Every time, I'm sure like a lot of you, I subscribe to a number of the sort of daily emails from the gaming sites and the gaming publications, and every day, it seems like half of the headlines in the articles are dedicated to someone in our industry predicting with compelling confidence the exact future that we are all about to go through in this industry. One expert says that mobile will replace consoles altogether. Another expert says consoles are not going anywhere. Another one says that soon all games will be free to play, microtransaction. I don't know about you, but most of the times that I've sat in an audience like this and listened to somebody predict the future of this or any other industry, they've been wrong. So I'm not going to fall into that trap. I'm not going to prognosticate the future. The future has a habit of unfolding in ways that are difficult for us to anticipate. But here's something I am pretty sure of. The best way for us to future-proof ourselves and our industry is to make great games. Technology will always change. Business models will always change. And we need to nimbly embrace and adapt to those changes. But people's desire for great content will never change. Just last week, I had a fascinating conversation. I was at a cocktail party in my hometown of Los Angeles. And a very good friend of mine, a longtime friend of mine, is now one of the top executives at one of the major Hollywood talent studios. And we were having a drink, and I asked him how his business was. And he said, with an air of some surprise, he says, you know, the division that is just off the charts this year for us is television. And I said, television? And he told me that if I had asked him to predict 5 years ago the future of the television division at his company, he would have guessed at that time that by now they would have shut it down. 5 years ago, the television industry was in a state of panic, seemingly under siege from all sides, from the digital video recorder, the DVR as we call it in the US, YouTube, videos on demand. So why is it still here? And the answer he gave was great content. Shows like The Sopranos, like Lost, like The Office, which, yes, we stole from you, we know. And many others ushered in the era of the single camera storytelling and took the medium to new heights. The way we consume television may have changed. Perhaps you watch it on your computer now. Perhaps you subscribe to an online streaming service. Perhaps you watch it time-shifted on a DVR. But people's desire for great, immersive, high production value content didn't change just because the technology did. Great content always finds an audience. And that's why I think it's absolutely a great time to be in the business of making games. There are two primary reasons that I think this. First, times of disruptive change and new competition demand better games. With so many choices out there, only great games will succeed. Some people lament that the video game industry is making fewer games. I look at it a different way. I see the video game industry on a whole making better games because there is no other road to success right now than through quality. There's no way to market your way out of a mediocre game, and that's good for our industry. The second reason is that if the rule book is going to be rewritten, we're the generation that gets to rewrite it. In times of disruptive innovation, creative excellence becomes more critical than ever. Creative excellence is what gets industries through moments of great disruption. At these moments, the world, I've noticed, seems to split into two types of people. I call them craftsmen, the craftsmen and the pioneers. The craftsmen tend to resist change and long to focus on excellence in the existing idiom. The pioneers thrive on change and strive for reinvention, but they tend to undervalue craftsmanship. Of course, both of these extremes are wrong, and they're both right. We must be pioneers and craftsmen all at the same time. If the craftsman doesn't evolve, he or she won't be around very long. If the pioneer doesn't master the craft, he or she won't be around much longer than that. That is the challenge for our industry today. And that's my message to you here today. Creative excellence always matters in our business more than anything else. And I'm also talking about the creative application and adaptation of new technologies. Maybe you've heard of a woman by the name of Jane McGonigal. Jane got her PhD from the University of California at Berkeley.